Um, I don't do relationship shows normally, like, but it's a side interest of mine. Fascinated by the psychology of relationships and what people need to do to have a successful relationship. What do you think is the most important thing that you share that helps you move forward together as a couple?
We share most things. We share almost everything.
I would say, certainly never having a stance of feeling like, you're in competition with somebody, that you're always, working towards a mutual goal, and to be able to open your mind and open yourself up enough to your partner to be trusting in their ideas and trusting in their viewpoints. That doesn't mean that we we that doesn't mean we never get on each other's nerves, because that would be
It's your
impossible for
humans,
anybody.
right?
But to, like I say, to never take a stance where you feel like, oh my God, I'm being attacked, instead of, oh, I want to listen to your idea. I want to know what you're thinking, and will that help me to improve? And not to say that it always does help improve, but to just be open and not, put up walls between you and your partner. I think that is key to it.
You seem to have a real, genuine friendship.
Absolutely.
And for me, that in my relationship, that's, I think, been a key factor as well, is that you actually genuinely enjoy spending time. So, I love that part. Sorry, guys. I just think it's fantastic. I love that you're doing this together. It's really neat. And,
I think it's important to understand the music as well, to understand where we're coming from. Like on the Lorquin's Admiral record, we get a lot of questions about, like, uh, the two songs "My Blue Wife" and "My Blue Husband," and I think that those two songs, incorporate what I was just talking about. We decided from the very get go, when we were listening to the material that was being sent to us by Nick and Marlon, that we were going to write a song for each other. And I've had questions, or we've had questions before about those songs, like, what's happening in there? What are the hidden meanings in there? And it's like, dude, there's no hidden meaning. Those are the most literal lyrics that are probably on that record.
Subtext.
No, it's just an expression of love and passion and emotional connection, and
beautiful.
how deeply intertwined we are with each other.
All right, you guys, I'm like having trouble doing this interview because this is all making me so happy. It's like I just freaking love that. Like it's like seems like it's such a missing part in our world. People struggle to have positive relationships and seem to be in like almost engaged in a battle with their partner in some way. And you guys like avoided all of that, and you put your egos aside, and you love each other and your friends. And I just find that amazing. So I'm going to move back to the music.
Yeah.
But I really appreciate you sharing with me. That's great. Tell me, guys, I'm really fascinated by the videos. So the style, are there, when I watch the videos back to back, and there's a very similar style in both those videos, how they focus on each one of your faces, and the vocalizations, and then with a kind of a spacey, really cool backgrounds. Tell me, who did the videos and how involved were you guys in the creative process, and what do those videos mean to you? Sorry, that's all stupidly long question. My apologies.
It's quite all right. So, as I was saying earlier, I went to Sonoma State to get a bachelor's of fine art, and so in photography. And so I have a little studio here in our garage, but in which we filmed both of those videos with all of the equipment that I've accumulated over the years. And so you can say I directed, a videographer, cinematographer, editor. That's correct. But we came up with the ideas together, and we wrote the scripts together. But like for you mentioned how they're both have elements of similarity, but also stylistically somewhat different, being that the
Definitely.
second one is entirely in black and white. And I would say the inspiration for that one, it's got a very stark uh, contrast appearance to Dandy's face in that video. But the inspiration for that came from infrared photography. So this is kind of getting into the weeds of
No, do it. People love this kind of stuff.
but in Dune 2, people might be familiar with the arena scene that's outdoors and the Emperor's nephews going through this trial where they're battling and whatnot. But anyways, that was filmed in infrared to give it that very alien
Yeah. Oh, cool.
surreal quality, and I thought that would be perfectly applicable for what we were going for. And so I was like, well, if it's good enough for Dune 2, I think we could shoot some infrared photography in our little studio garage. So that's how it came together.
And it definitely, when we began talking about shooting those videos, they weren't ideas that we spent extraordinarily an extraordinary amount of time on. Let's try to capture something simple with both of us in it, without a whole lot of shots, so we can put this together, in a timely fashion. And Dawn just took it to a whole different level. Like she was saying, we basically just shook around in front of our green screen out in our garage for a little bit, and what she was able to put together is, I think, pretty tremendous.
It's tremendous. It's like, I love showing people those videos. It's like, look at this band. Like, look, like, and they're so, like, when you do it back to back, they're so strikingly, like you said, similar and different.
Yeah. And Dawn's work with photography is even a step up from that. I mean, definitely, fans of this show, you all should go and check out her website. She has all kinds of material that she shot on large format and medium format cameras that are just tremendous, absolutely tremendous. And the website for that, what is your website?
Yeah, I'm gonna like be posting this, so please go ahead and say it. But if you could send it to me too, that would be fantastic.
Of course, you can find me at dawnsgallery.wordpress.com, and all of my work is there.
She might even be coaxed into making a print and selling it. I don't know.
Oh, now that's nice.
If you like to support your local orders or your local artists, and I know a lot of you do, that's a fantastic way to do it. So you guys tell me about that. It's photography. Your album art is going to be. Have you guys released the picture from your album?
I'm pretty sure you can go. Our album's available for pre-sale, and the album artwork is available there.
Yeah, and I think it's already leaked out in all kinds of places. So any Google search will pop you up to all of Dawn's photography for the artwork that she did for the Fizz Fuzz and for Orquesta del Desierto. She did that as well. Also did the Lorquin's Admiral artwork. She's certainly a tremendously talented woman.
Yeah, I am absolutely impressed. And where did you record the album? Did you record it? Did you guys record it in California, or did you?
The Lorquin's Admiral record was done in Kent, in the UK.
At a studio called the Joplin.
Oh, really?
Yeah. The Joplin House has a hell of a lot of history. The board they use, they recently got a new board that Dan Lucas, the guy that owns the studio, he purchased out here not in California, in Utah, I think, of all places. He's just having it shipped back there. But Joplin House, for the longest time, they had the board that was used in Olympic Studios by the Stones and
Really?
Oh yeah, but again, name dropping. Certainly all the 60s and 70s bands that you can imagine that passed through Olympic Studios.
The Monkees?
I think the Monkees, they're
David Bowie was on
David
that
Bowie, AC/DC. There's so much history behind that board. Actually, he was telling us the story of when he first got that board. They were cleaning it out and they lifted up the control panel, or they lifted up the channels, and it was just filled with cocaine.
That's what I was gonna guess. Little cocaine in there, perhaps.
Everything was down in the board, but to be in a studio where that folks like like AC/DC have recorded something, or the Stones have recorded using that same equipment. It just adds an aura to there where you just want to like bring your game up a little bit and say,
Yeah.
oh, you know,
Does that really affect you in that way?
well, you know, I have heroes for sure. And
Yeah.
Certainly.
certainly to know that I'm recording on the same thing that they did something many years ago that I really admire. That certainly operates, I think, on anybody's psychology.
Hmm.
But yeah, we were very lucky to get into that studio. They were Dan is a good friend of both Nick and Marlon, and so that's how we got into the studio. And it just happened to work out that the Fizz Fuzz was doing a UK tour at the time, so we set aside an extra week at the end of that tour to go in and track that record. And boy, what we pulled off in a week is, I think, pretty enormous. Everybody's performances in just a week's time, blows me away too. And Dawn and I we were so ill. We
Oh,
were
yeah.
so sick at the time.
Really?
With a coldness,
Oh,
we
yeah.
got through that week of nonstop recording.
We were downing cold medicine just to keep, just to try to keep. So we had our nasal passages clear. I mean, it was bad. It was
Yeah.
really, really bad.
You can't tell. I mean, it certainly doesn't come through.
That's
It's
all
amazing.
studio magic.
Yeah. Perhaps we added just a little extra grit.
Yeah, I think
A
so.
little extra grit. I'm down with that. Love a
Yeah,
little extra
yeah,
grit.
yeah.
All right, you guys. I'm just going to ask you some silly questions here at the end, and we'll see. When you release your music, what format do you prefer it be released on? Vinyl, cassette, just streaming? Do you have an affinity for compact discs or reel to reel?
I don't think you really need to ask that question.
Vinyl, of course. We're total vinyl heads. We love vinyl.
We have a hell of a collection. We love the whole format. Certainly, I think analog sounds better. I think it sounds warmer. There'll be people that argue that with you all day long, and hey, more power to them if they like the sound of a digital track that sounds cleaner to them. But there's definitely something about the warmth of the analog that has always touched me far more than a digital. And I love the artwork with a vinyl record. It takes me back to when my brothers in the '70s were bringing home like 2112 or Steve Miller, Fly
I
Like an
remember
Eagle.
cleaning my weed on Pink Floyd The Wall.
Yeah,
Got to have a double album for that.
But just losing yourself and having that album open on your lap and listening to it in the headphones or whatever, and
Still do it.
just going off in a dream with it. And I think more power again to digital formats. That's all great and everything, and I've done it many times in my career too. But there's something special about vinyl.
So it sounds like I can look forward to having a vinyl copy of this album.
You can.
I
You
love
definitely
vinyl
can.
too. I love vinyl for the same reasons you talk about, Dandy. I mean, tell me, what's the last album you listened to front to back and just were like, oh damn?
Gosh, I gotta say it was, is it Spinning Wheel by Blood, Sweat, and Tears?
Yeah.
The album? I mean,
I don't think that's the name of the record. I think that's oh gosh, I'm not gonna search my memory right now. But yeah,
it's just so bombastic.
yeah,
There's
those Tears, and they're all over it. And I would say the last one. I mean, we listen to vinyl pretty often, but the last one, most recent, maybe Supertramp, Breakfast in America.
Great record.
Oh, it is
It's a great record.
Unbelievable. I was just talking to my foray in music really started when I was about 13, 14 years old. And my cousin, Pete Davidson, is a phenomenal drummer. And his friend, Todd Quincy, Pete, Todd, and I, we would get together in Pete's dad's basement and smoke a joint and play the same riff for about like 3 hours, and just keep playing it on and on and on. And I just wrote to him recently after listening to that Breakfast in America record. And I was like, man, if we would have kept going, we would have sounded just like this band because they really blow me away. I think I have everything by Supertramp.
Yeah.
And I definitely love that band for sure.
Oh, that's a very unexpected but wonderful answer. I also love going back. I think the last record I listened to was Allman Brothers, Brothers and Sisters. I think I listened to that yesterday. That's awesome. Well, tell me, you've done, what do you think the most underrated Hermano track that you recorded was, Dandy?
The most underrated Hermano track.
That's a great question.
That is a great question. Hmm, whew, I can't really think of it, to tell you the
What's your
truth.
favorite one then?
Probably the bottom. I'm always Hermano is such a phenomena in itself. The way that band came together, the fact that when we reached 2007, 2008, we at that point in the career of that band, we'd reached a point where it was either let's move forward full time or let's decide what we're going to do with this. And there were offers from our record label at the time to give up your jobs, come out, we'll pay you as much as you make at your jobs. Boy, we kicked that idea around quite a bit at the time. But I think right at that time, both Johnny and I, we had our youngest children born, and the deal was, you can spend 9 months on the road and then be home for 3 months. And it was like, man, I don't know if I can, be out of my kid's life for 9 months out of the year just to be, playing rock and roll as much as I love rock and roll. And I think at that point,
You're a good person, man. I love that about you. You're such a good person. I think that's fantastic. Sorry
when
to
we
interrupt.
decided not to do it, then that pretty much put the closed the window for a while on Hermano because everybody started doing their separate projects and we just couldn't find windows to get it going again. But the thing I was getting to is that Hermano, it just shocks me. It always shocks me time and time again that every year we receive offers to do something when we're really not active. We really don't do a whole lot. And then suddenly we're being offered after not playing music for 9 years to come and headline a stage at Hellfest and play for what 20,000, 30,000 people. And it's like, oh my gosh, how does this band stay relevant?
Andy, you're active in our hearts. Literally, seriously, I'm very serious as a fan. Like you're on still 9 years like constant rotation. Like I love you guys made
Yeah.
timeless music. It's amazing.
I really think that group we did something super super special. We continue to, and from what I understand, we've been in discussions about getting maybe a little more active over the next couple of years, and yeah, I'm not gonna
I
let
haven't heard anybody say a word about any of that.
I don't think it's a huge secret. I think everybody's kind of talking about it a little bit now. Whether or not that happens, I don't know. I'll be ready if it
Right,
does.
Keep our fingers crossed. Don, tell me, as a vocalist, who has been an inspiration for you in your vocal style?
Well, one of my favorite singers of all time was Chris Cornell. I thought he had just such a gift. Every time I listen to his vocals, no matter if it's Soundgarden or the stuff he did on his own or Audio Slave, Temple of the Dog, he's got such a warm yet he has such a range. He can go from delicate and soft to this really gruff, cutting voice, and that had a real big influence on me. Also Billy Corgan, he also has that really wide range of different sounds that he can make with his vocal box. I just love singers who can bring different elements of their character into their singing. And so I try to do the same myself, not just sticking with the same timbre the whole time, but changing it up to bring different emotional elements into the vocals. And so
Actually, your vocals, yeah.
Wait.
And then
No, I see that. I see those influences on your vocals, and I love the fact that you're not like there's nothing boring about your singing. It's hypnotic.
And then she'll be around the house and she'll bust into some Cher, man.
Yeah.
And she's dead on. She's spot on it.
Well, thank you. I can't help but sing. I sing in the car every day to a different track, and Cher is also pretty high in my rotation just because it's a great warm up.
Sure. Who do you listen to on a regular basis that you think your fans might be surprised? Because Cher's a good example.
Yeah, Cher is a good example. I listen to a lot of punk as well. I've been listening to Alkaline Trio a lot recently. Dandy hates when I bring them. They just had a new record out. I think it was last year. like Blood, Sweat, and Eyeballs or something like that. And I really love a good punk track. You know, I kind of, it's like my guilty pleasure, I guess.
Now that's where my whole love for music started, is the punk rock scene, the early LA scene, and then the stuff from England, the Clash and stuff like that. So no, I see that in your music. Tell me, you guys, what's the first concert you ever went to?
First concert I ever went to was Fastway and Rush.
Jeez, well, just ease into it, man.
I was singing actually for a group. I think I was 14. The group was called Sterling Miles Band, and just a group of guys from high school. The guitar player was the biggest Alex Lifeson fan, and he totally turned me on to Rush, and I just happened to have my voice, and so I was able to sing on a lot of that stuff. And he happened to have an extra ticket, and he was like, "You got to come and check it out live." And it was pretty mind blowing. Fastway.
I've seen Rush live too, buddy. It's like,
Yeah,
I love Rush too. That's amazing.
Fast Eddie Clark. The hype was all true. I loved him from the time he was in Motorhead, and certainly into Fastway. They got a little bit into that 80s kind of production, which I'm not a huge fan of, and hard rock from the 80s.
Agree.
But certainly that guy could scream. he could play some guitar, man.
Dawn, what about you?
Yeah, my story is not quite as exciting, but I saw Smash Mouth play out in the desert. They were playing at I want to say there was a casino down in Palm Springs that they were playing outdoors at, and my mother, she actually used to work at this generator renting company, and so she rented out all the generators for that contract, and so we got to go out for free, and
cool.
I got to see Smash Mouth.
How old were you, do you think, Dawn?
It was like early high school, so probably 15-ish, maybe 14, 15.
Did that show have an effect on you? Was that like a point where you were like, ooh, that'd be cool to do? Or was it just like something you did with your mom?
Well, actually, to be honest, I don't know if that really qualifies as my first concert, because, like, as I was saying before, my father always played in bands. And so more likely going to one of his gigs was really one of my first concerts. I have this memory of him playing in a strip mall somewhere, and my parents are divorced, and so they were kind of like switching over custody at the time. And my mom, she's carrying me into this club with like headphones on because it's so flippin' loud. I can feel like the bass thumping on my chest, and she just hands me over. Like, all right, they're yours now. In the middle of this rock concert, I'm just like with my little headphones on, like, okay, there's my dad on stage. Great.
That's where it starts, kids.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, hey, you guys, I want to give you an opportunity. I'm just going to let you talk about whatever you'd like to talk about. If you'd like to give someone a shout out, or you'd like to talk about something that's important to you, please take the next couple of minutes to do that. I just like to, this is going to be on YouTube, and if you want to speak to your fans about anything, I'll give you a forum.
Give a shout out to Alice Tambourine.
Oh, definitely. There's, we didn't really get into some of the current groups that we're really into, so I always got to give a shout out.
Let's talk about that. We don't have to wrap up. Let's talk about that.
A couple of groups that are really, really kind of blowing my mind right now. One is Alice Tambourine Lover. They're a band out of Italy, out of Bologna. Alice and Franco, her husband, just amazing musicians. I think they have maybe 4 or 5 albums out now. They've been around for about 10, 12 years now, and really, really, really great stuff. And also a band out of Nottingham, Church of the Cosmic Skull. Okay. They have absolutely blown me away over the past few years. And I've become really decent friends with Bill Fisher, singer from that band. And I just love his production techniques. I love what they're going for. It's very similar to the vocal stylings that we kind of go for, the harmonies and things like that. Okay. Awesome. So definitely your fans fans of this show need to check them out.
Pick that up.
For sure.
Another band that surprisingly has become up in my upper echelon is a band called Turnstile. They've become definitely one of my favorites lately. Certainly not a genre of music I would think I would like a whole lot, but they do it with their own kind of style.
Okay.
And they're actually playing at Hellfest as well.
Sweet.
I'm hoping we get to see them, but I don't know if we will, because they play on a different night and awfully late, and then we got to fly home the next day. But certainly a band to check out, and definitely for us. Before I turn it over to Dawn for her closing shots,
Oh, that was
come
my shout out.
yeah, I did.
Yeah, I said Alice Tambourine Lover, and you did a great job.
Definitely, that Lorquin's Admiral record is coming out June 27th, and we're really, really looking forward to that one coming out from Argonauta Records. Argonauta, what a great label, man! A label that's going through some definite evolution. They started out as all doom rock, and they've definitely spread their wings over the past few years, and I love the direction. I love how they're staying to their roots but adding things in and opening up vistas for their record label. And they took a real shot on our record, and I'm really, really appreciative. We're really appreciative that they decided to put our record out. As we talked about earlier, Lorquin's Admiral falls into so many different genres, and we approached a lot of different labels with this record, and because it didn't fall into one genre that they could pigeonhole, a lot of folks didn't want to touch it.
Sure.
But Argonauta, from the moment they heard it, they were like, we got to have that record.
Yeah.
And they've been behind it and really pushing it for us. It's a great record,
It is a great record. It's like album of the year material for sure. And I know we throw that around a lot, but it's this album, the Godzillionaire album that came out in January, these are my favorite albums that I've heard this year. And Dandy, I like what Argonauta is doing, I think, a service to its fans by expanding the music that they're producing and putting out. The heavy underground is not just Black Sabbath clones doing drony Dune stuff, although I like that. And I know you guys probably like it too.
Yeah.
But I need more variety in my life. And the thing about underground bands like yours is you're making music from your heart. You're making the music that you want to make. And consequently, I love that music because you're not making it for, a commercial or some TV show or hopes that, you'll be touring with Taylor Swift next year.
We would tour with Taylor Swift. We would sell a song to a commercial. Let's not.
Yeah, I'm not saying you wouldn't.
Yeah.
But yeah, and honestly, I mean, I was saying to my girlfriend this morning, it's like Third Street Shuffle by Godzillionaire, Black Cat Calling by Luna Soul, and your song. Oh, I lost the title of your song. Well, I'll just edit that right out. And aren't we? Or Inexplicable Things.
Yeah.
These songs should be 3-run songs on FM radio.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like they're very accessible. And I know you guys didn't do that on purpose, but like the music's beautiful, and I appreciate you guys making it. Thank you.
Really appreciate that, man. You are 100% right. So many people get caught up, and record labels get caught up, and radio stations get caught up, and media gets caught up in relying upon what is safe and what they've sold before.
Yeah.
And let's sell it again. Let's sell it again. Let's sell it again. And then you end up with a glut of bands, like you said, that sound like Black Sabbath. Over and over and over again. And I love Black Sabbath, and I love Caius. I love all those groups.
Sure.
But there's so many bands now that sound like Black Sabbath and like Caius, and they just keep doing it over and over and over again. And hey, more power to you if that's what drives you and that's what's in your heart. That's great. Yes. But for me as a fan of music, it's like I can only pick so many of those bands. Is that from my side or your side?
I'm not sure. It's gone now.
Like I said, I can only take so many of those bands, and then I need something different. I need something. That's what I'm always looking for. I'm always looking for a sound I haven't heard before, not for a sound I have heard before. And for you to say that our band falls into that, that's really That's really terrific
Yeah,
praise.
I think there's great nutritional value, I think you could say, in expanding the palette in the sounds that are, being included in the craft.
Yeah.
It's
That's a cool.
expansive rather than reductive.
Yeah.
That's a great way to put it, because the music, really, for people like us, that is our food. That's our sustenance. That's what gets us through the day. And man, I appreciate you guys, putting like a new dish on my plate, because it's definitely unique, and it's definitely something that people, they don't know it yet, but they need to hear it.
Man, as we close out, let me say that I like to always give props to folks that are doing what you're doing, because it is so instrumental and so important to the music scene itself, to have people out there like you getting behind the music and talking to people like us. And we just can't say thank you enough for doing the interview with us and helping us get the message out. Without folks like you, we'd be out dancing in front of our green screen, which would be okay too.
Well, thank you. I do it because I love the music, and you guys, like, when I put on your songs, it makes me happy. I thank you for sending me the whole album. I know I'm like, I had Steve Howe on the. He writes for Outlaws of the Sun. He's like, you have the whole album back. It's like,
see, that's Nick and Marlon, because they know Steve and they're supposed to get that to him.
see, Steve.
Steve,
I
if you're
just,
watching this,
Steve, I got a better hookup.
yes, you got to get on Nick and Marlon about that.
Man, I really appreciate you sharing with me the story of your relationship and your music, and it's a beautiful story, and I love that I get to talk to cool people like you guys, and just know that you're inspiring a lot of people, and you're making music that makes people happy, and we really love and appreciate that about you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sean, and you have a great weekend, or what's left of the weekend out there in Colorado, right?
Well, let me tell you what's up. We're going to go see your buddy Dave Angstrom tonight. He's Luna Soul and Volume are playing live in Denver with a couple of really nice local acts, and so we're going to go check that out.
Right.
All right. Now,
Don, did you have anything that you wanted to close with? Did you get a chance?
Well, I do have one more shout out for a man called Isaac. Gabriella Carta, he's our bass player in the Fizz Fuzz, and he also plays in a band out of Genova, Italy called Isaac, and I think they play in like drop C, like very, very heavy. If you're really looking for really heavy sounds, that's a good place to get it from.
He's a tremendous musician and a tremendous guy.
These guys are these the same Isaac that's coming to John Gist's show? Well, I got tickets to go see Isaac.
There you go.
So I have not caught up with that, so I'll definitely check that out, Don. Thank you very much for that. You guys, once again, I appreciate your time. I'm grateful for your music. Thank you very much for that. I'll do my little sign-off thing here. Hang on one second. No, I'm not going to do it like that. I'll cut that out. Hey, this is S. Patrick Brooks. Sean from the Heavy Underground Farm Report. I had Don and Dandy from Lorquin's Admiral. Their new album is coming out on the 27th of June. Absolutely can't, you guys pre-order it. You can get it on vinyl. Listen to the singles on YouTube. Check out the videos. Don did an amazing job with those. I absolutely love you guys. Thank you so much for taking the time.
All right, Sean. Thank you.
It's been wonderful.
All right, cool. I'm going to hang up on this, but I want to keep you guys on for just a second here. All right, cool. We're done recording.
Yeah!